Okay, how are you? Sinadapi. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. We've been trying to get on, but we're way out in the mountains and intermittent Wi-Fi. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. So I have a couple of messages for you today, and I'm just going to go ahead and share them as long as the Wi-Fi holds. So first of all, I'd just like to extend all of our honor and all of those who listen to Native Wellness Institute's free Facebook Live for the last 4 years. Oh my gosh. And we just want to say that we really stay connected to you. A lot of us, our big team is out in Indian country right now. We're in several places doing training. I'm heading for Rapid City with Dwight Francisco in a little bit. So we just returned from Ontario, where we had adults working with youth, and we had our academy, our Native American Youth Academy, and we had about 180 people show up from Ontario, from Alaska, from all of California and South Dakota, Anishinaabe. So welcome. So I just wanted to the first topic I wanted to visit with you about is lateral forgiveness. And what does that mean, you know? I've just been experiencing it in my own personal life, and I've witnessed it in the several funerals that we've had here and on our reservation. I witnessed it yesterday, and so I'll just I'll say a little something about that. I noticed it makes me cry. I noticed the several funerals that we've had lately. Yesterday we had Patricia Peppian Pollock's funeral. She fought a courageous battle against cancer. And then there's just been so many lately that I guess I could feel the weight of it. But why do we have a lateral forgiveness? As they say, it triggers our grief, and remember, our grief is just as big as our love. So I'm going to share with you, I noticed yesterday that all my first cousins, we started the pandemic with 65 first cousins, and we might be down to 40 something first cousins. And sometimes that can be overwhelming. That's why this lateral forgiveness is so important for all of us, including myself, including all those who believe in the teachings of our ancestors. I noticed that the lateral forgiveness is just accepting how people believe. If they're traditional believers of their ancestors, or if they're believers of Buddha, if they're believers of Jesus and the Bible, if they're believers of other organized religion, I just noticed that there's just been a lot of lateral forgiveness and not judging each other. That what's more important at this time is our connectedness, especially around addictions and what this season this festive season from Thanksgiving to New Year's is supposed to mean for natives. I I know, I was just thinking half my relatives are Catholic and half my relatives are believe in Ishtabat Bio. And sometimes I just like to find it out. Find it out like, no, my way's better, or your way is colonized, or there's just this incredible animosity sometimes. So I'm gonna ask you, just as your badass auntie, just to think about taking a pause and having lateral forgiveness during this season, because we really need to connect so that we stay healthy as possible for our families. Yesterday, I just seen so many of my first cousins. They looked exhausted. They were in grief, and we don't look when we're grieving. We always don't look our best, and that doesn't matter. It's because our heart hurts. And when our heart breaks, when we lose people, places, and things, it's almost like sometimes there's a doubt in our faith. And I just want to say, I'm down from Divide Mountain, and I couldn't get a Wi-Fi signal, so I just lit a smudge. I said, Creator, I wanted to talk about lateral forgiveness. If it's meant to be for me to come on. And I don't know why my heart is so heavy, because I'm just sharing openly with you. I think we have to start connecting with each other and forgiving each other, accepting forgiveness and giving forgiveness. It start small. I try to forgive what was done to my parents in boarding school, and I just can't yet. I just can't, because I see it in my cousins, I see it in us. That's why we have all these funerals. I see it. So maybe not to start with, giant things of forgiveness, but just to start small. Start small with just your immediate family. And that might be, humans, that might be your dogs, your horses, or your exes. Forgive your exes! Come on! Get with it! Start small. Start with your siblings. Start with your cousins. Start with your kinship. Yesterday I was sitting in I'm not a holy roller, and I don't go to those kind of things, but I will. My grandma, Awatsky, Irene Bullshoe Pollock Cooper, when I was a little girl, would always take me to St. Anne's Church just to hold her hand and skip with her to church in Browning, Montana. So that church, it's been there since the 30s. It always reminds me of being with my grandma. And even though I didn't understand and I didn't relate, and I knew I didn't belong there, it's a good memory that I went with my grandma Awatsky. And so there was part of the funeral services for my first cousin's wife was there, and I decided I needed to go to, 1, to honor her life, 2, to honor her children, 3, to honor all of their grandchildren, to honor the living. And I think that's, why I come to you today, because we have to do this lateral forgiveness for our future the next 10 generations. They need us to forgive and not carry resentments and not carry that burden of judgment. I look at, some of the social media, I saw something that I saw was really painful. It was Leonardo and Lily Gladstone kissing, and the meme that someone put was, "Let's have a half-breed." And that might be funny on some levels, but I just see the pain of all of our people who, there are no full-bloods, maybe one or two at Sixikai, 2 or 3 at Kainai, 4 at a Butts-Pikutty. We might have a handful in Skapi-Pikutty. But even that, I thought, how painful, how mean-spirited to make fun of mixed bloods, to make fun of people who are lighter than a paper bag and can pass for white. You're freaking killing them by making fun of them. You're freaking killing them when they commit suicide or choose suicide, or choose to numb out with methamphetamine or fentanyl, or gambling, or shopping themselves to death to put stuff underneath a tree. Wow. I won't apologize for my emotions, because I've learned in my sobriety and my Al-Anon program that I need to go with my emotions and not suck them up. And I had, we make these plans. I had planned to be up on the mountain, but there was no Wi-Fi. So I thought, well, Creator, I'll drive to see if I can get a connection. So one of the things I had planned to talk with you about is to say a prayer for all of the natives that are locked up behind bars. I got a request from the Billings Women Prison today at 1 o'clock. They get to sing some songs, and they're singing the water song, and then they're singing some Eulali songs, and then they're going to sing some sweat songs. And they just wanted to ask everyone. They said they were going to pray for everyone. And here they are, locked up in jail, away from their families. And some of them because of things they did with their addiction. But they wanted to send out a message that they were going to talk today about, and it's a new Blackfoot word that I'm learning. Omakatoi Ksistiku. Big Holy Day. And they were calling me because they were saying, what do we call the solstice? Which is going to be, December 21st, real early, 1:30 a.m. And sometimes people call that December 25th, Omakatoi Ksistiku, Big Holy Day. And I thought, here are all these Native women, some locked up for a long time, and some a couple of years, not being with their children or their families, and here they are praying for us. And so that was, I kind of had, when you make these plans, and I couldn't get through to the Wi-Fi, so I thought, pity me and help me. I'm supposed to come on and give this message, because Native Wellness Institute, we always come to you and try to give positive productive and proactive dialogue. And I slept really good last night. I dreamt, and sometimes I astral travel, so I know I was traveling around, and I just felt really happy this morning in spite of attending a funeral. But the lateral forgiveness I witnessed and felt at that funeral amongst all of our relatives was kind of magical. So I just felt it. I felt it deep inside my body. And one of the, Dr. DeRosier, Mary DeRosier, she's retired now. She used to be the MD at Crow. She used to work at several other places, but she came back home. And Mary DeRosier needs to be acknowledged. When doctors used to get their Indian Health Service, their IHS subsidies and scholarships, they didn't allow them. They had to, when they get this scholarship, they have to go back and work at a IHS hospital or clinic to pay back. And in the olden days, they wouldn't let them go to their own reservation. But Mary DeRosier changed that and petitioned and changed the language so that she could return and be a Blackfeet doctor on the Blackfeet reservation. And I just found that out yesterday. Her and she was going to do some of the reading before the eulogy, but I decided to sit with her because she was my doctor. All these years she's been getting me mammograms and colonoscopies and titanium knees and checking my blood pressure, and just really but she's retired. And then sometimes on some days I'm semi-retired, and I just wanted to sit with her and talk sister to sister. And so I guess I'll just share not all of what we said, because we were laughing pretty hard. One of the things, and it helped me with my intentions of forgiveness to others and forgiveness to things and self-forgiveness, is she said something. She said, before, because I couldn't come home to be a doctor, and when I went to Crow and was the doctor, she said it really was a gift, because for some reason at that reservation, being an MD, my hats are off to our nurses and our doctors at any of our clinics, because you're going to get yelled at, you're going to get blamed, you're going to get screamed at, because that's part of grief. Part of grief after the shock and the denial is the anger, and the anger is always directed at the hospital's fault. Sometimes, there might be true, but the anger is that grief. And the unresolved grief, we get angry, and we get so angry at the healthcare providers. We get angry at, those kinds of things. And when we were visiting, she said it helped me, because the years that she was an MD at Crow first helped, and we laughed because it thickened her skin for her to come home and to be an MD on our reservation. And I could relate. I said, I could understand that, Mary, because I came home to help, but every time I work for the tribe, I get beat up. So I just volunteer for the tribe now, and I still get beat up. Well, come on. So, but what she was talking about is not taking it personally. And when you're a helper, all of those out there, and I know a lot of you traditional practitioners, and a lot of you healers, and a lot of you counselors, a lot of you social workers, and you might be a hairdresser. Most hairdressers are therapists. I always tell that to Steve Barrios. Look at all the years you gave therapy and you listened to people's story and you soothed them and you gave them back something. So this lateral forgiveness is sometimes that lateral forgiveness is to ourselves, to all of those helpers who right now they're working a lot of hours and everybody wants a little bit of a break, so I can't, I forgive you for being in Las Vegas. I forgive all the per diem Indians for going to Washington, D.C. And if we get on the Canadian side, I don't want to talk or judge our Canadian relatives. But same thing, we're at a time where it's okay to go on vacation. It's okay to go to Hawaii. It's okay to take a break. And that's why I said, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that was, so it took me about 10 minutes to get into acceptance that if there's no Wi-Fi, that's it. And I could get hold of Gene or get hold of the NWI team. My sister Lori is with my mother heading to Kalispell. I was just thinking I was thinking about Jackie Blackbird. She's in DC. Next thing, and I think of Jolene and them are going to hunt a buffalo. I think Shady's. So everybody's like hunting a buffalo or going somewhere else. And so I couldn't in short notice. And I thought, well, okay, I'm going to accept, and I can't change this. So as I was coming down the mountain, and I was just saying, it's about to be. Just saying my prayers. I always, think about Natiwa Pisaki, because that's Carol Murray. I'm gonna meet her in a little bit because I've been traveling and I've been working and I've been giving a lot, and she's gonna paint my face. I always go to her. She's my cousin, but I always go to her because I feel safe. Women feel safe with women. And I don't know, it's been years. I always have her. So I I guess I need my face painted. I need to clean off. I was just thinking the last, I've been on the road for about a month or so making that film in Banff, and I came home a day and went to a funeral, then headed out to Albuquerque. I came home this time, but I'd slept good. And why must we go to funerals? Because we love people, because we care for people, because we knew them all our lives, and we want to honor them, that their work on earth is done, and we want to honor their kinship that's alive. It's about honoring the living. So I always say to myself, let's go and hug as many people as we can. And so Dr. DeRozier and I were sitting in the pews yesterday, and we kept hugging. And then finally at the end I said, Mary, I'm not Catholic. And I was safe enough to tell. I said, I'm not Christian. I don't know. I said, I've always just felt Blackfoot, like my grandma Atstanikiwa, Joe Boss, my dad, Beaver, Atokon was his name. I think it translates when they had to have an Okon in the fall. That's who I really am. That's my authentic self. But Mary, and that's what I said. I don't care. I'll pray with any Blackfeet, and I really like how everybody's praying here. I really like how they're honoring Patricia's life. I really glad that me and you could just sit here and laugh about things and cry about things and hug each other, because we're just sisters. You're not my MD, and I'm not your bad patient that eats too much sodium. Anyway, that lateral forgiveness, and so this lateral forgiveness, I have to go back to one of my mentors, Avis Archambault. Avis, she would always say that there's little baby steps and then there's big steps to forgiveness. Because at that time, Avis was trying to help me, and I've worked through most of that because I was perpetrated by a medicine man in South Dakota 35 years ago, and I was working through the healing, and I would still have anger towards him. I would still have animosity, and she was saying that there's baby steps to forgiveness. So one of the lesson that she had me work on at that time, and I still use that valuable lesson today, is she said, if you can't give the big forgiveness, she said, just take a baby step, a little baby step. And it's called let it be. Just let it be. So you don't have to jump to forgiving the unforgivable. You can just let it be. And welcome to Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. We just wanted to give you some dialogue on taking care of yourself. And this is self-care during the holiday season, which started in November and kind of ends when everyone checks into treatment January 3rd. Or January 2nd. Or January 1st, they check into treatment. So this lateral forgiveness, and boy, Indians could, we used to joke, there's, in workshops, I'd say, yeah, that one person that you wished you met in a dark alley and you had a pistol with the silencer, But everyone can name some people. They can name their exes, they can name, so-and-so and so-and-so. And so if you have, and it's not that person that you ignore, you try to pretend you don't see them in the grocery store, or you don't even see them in church, you look the other way. They're right there. Lateral forgiveness. So think about that. Whoever they are, and having going through, and I'll just share a little, this is anonymous. But there was, right after Reservation Dogs, one of our tribal members was really after me and even wrote a letter to NWI saying that I should be fired because of the character I played. Anyway, I hadn't seen this person, and she was antagonistic to me. So I just, usually with that, I try to meet him halfway. And if it doesn't happen, I call them out to play rock, paper, scissors on top of Chief Mountain. And if that doesn't work, I block them. It's called having boundaries. So yesterday, I'll be 69 years old pretty soon. And this person came up to me and put out her hand. And because that was her sister that had passed. And I just grabbed her and I hugged her. And I just said, I'm really, really sorry you lost your sister. I'm really, really sorry that your love has left. And we kind of hugged really hard. And in that, I felt the forgiveness. And I asked just to start on new ground. On new ground. So part of that lateral forgiveness is starting on new ground, like a new day, a reclaiming, a starting over. So think about, because this is why I'm getting my face painted. I heard so many stories of people who don't talk to their parents anymore. don't even know who their parents are, don't talk to their siblings anymore, don't, etc., etc. And so I saw healing, I felt healing, and I was in a group, massive healing. And then I come home and I have more healing here in my own community. And it's important in our own community where we live that we have safety. So just in this remaining few minutes that we have here on Welcome to Wellness Wednesday, think about how you create safety for yourself. Think about how you create safety in your family. Think about how you create safety in your community. And then think about how you create safety on social media. I want to give a shout out to my sister Wanda Batchelor. Just the positive safety messaging that she's had. She always has it, but lately I just look forward to what she posts. If you look forward to what people post, that means they're safe. So don't be bitching and complaining all the time. Get a grip and mature. Do some of this lateral kindness. We've talked about lateral kindness and lateral forgiveness. And so, I come to you and I'm not sure if I can. It's pretty windy right here, but I just want to take you out and show you where I am. Make sure I don't lock myself out because it warmed up to 32. I'm on, that's Divide Mountain. Divide Mountain, that's a place where some of my family members fasted. There's some grizzly bear dens up there. And when we fast, I want to give a shout out to, Brother Craig Falcon. He was saying that, in the olden days, and even the modern days, that when we fast, that's what brings us back to ourselves, and that's what brings us to a good place of forgiveness. And, I was just thinking it was 1996 when Edward Little Dog and Muffet put me up in their sweat shed. And I fasted for 4 days and 4 nights. And it got down to 22 below zero Fahrenheit. And I just remember Edward and Muffet had to go to Great Falls because their relative Stanog was in a precarious emergency situation, and so there was no one left to watch me. And it's winter, we didn't have cell phones. Isn't that funny? We didn't have cell phones. I didn't have a cell phone, so they left, and no one knew. And then it blizzarded, and they couldn't. So I was fasting in that shed, and of course there was, where you heated the rocks, and so I had to ration the wood. And so I would ration the wood, and then I had Carhartt's wool on. I was just all covered up. I don't think they didn't have a buffalo robe or nothing, but I was covered up. And I'd wait till it got too cold, and then I'd start the fire again because I was rationing the wood. And that fast really helped me, because that was when I had a dream, and we were following Buster Yellow Kidney at that time, and Buster said I should start getting ready, and that's when I began. I think I ended up over a period of time fasting and dancing 10 years with Buster. And those times, especially that third day when you're fasting, that third day, you have forgiveness for all things, and you switch grateful for water. You get so grateful for water when water tastes sweet. You're so grateful when they give you spotted dog, raisin and rice, or you just get some broth. That's what fasting, and then what you're praying for, because I had forgiveness. My heart had been broken. I had broken up with my husband at that time, Manuel Ramos. He passed this year. Total forgiveness, Manuel. You're in the afterworld. But at that time, my heart was so broken because I had chosen my sobriety over staying married. In Al-Anon, I had to choose my sobriety, and I was just brokenhearted. Here I was fasting because Edward said that would help. And it did. Thank you, Edward. I know you're in the spirit world. That's the mountains. This is where I can feel it is 32 degrees. But that lateral forgiveness is my auntie. I think we all need to fast 4 days. Don't go shopping. Don't be binging Netflix, Jays. Quit bitching and complaining. We all need to put ourselves in a good state of mind, and I'm saying that to myself. So I just wanted to come with welcome to Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. With our bigger team, we're out and about. We'd just like you to think about lateral kindness and lateral forgiveness. Easy to think about when you look at these mountains. Here's old War Pony. I'm in a part where you're not supposed to get into. There's the road. But I thank War Pony for being such a good horse, taking me many places today. But I think I'm gonna head and go get my face painted. So we'll be here every Wednesday, and I'm glad I got on for a little bit. So until next Wednesday, keep talking till months.